chance to go out and mingle some with the players. I mean, what's some of the chatter that you've been hearing out there on the floor?
All the predictions are horsed. Everybody generally being upset about the majority of the predictions if you didn't choose them, and telling us that we're wrong, of course. But everybody, all the dark horses came up to me and said, Rob, thank you so much. And that's what makes it worth it.
I mean, so there haven't been any players who are like, yeah, I'm feeling really uncomfortable about my group. Has everyone you've talked to been really confident? Because I know there's that sort of joking like, hey, you didn't pick me, you're a jerk. But I mean, the players seemed all convinced that they're going to be able to win.
As far as legitimate, like, being uncomfortable goes, the one player that I thought might actually voice an opinion that way may have been Illusion, but he was actually just so prepared because, I mean, we heard his statement earlier, so he has to feel prepared after saying something like that. You got to follow it up pretty big. I know that Ret could potentially be afraid of Last Shadow because he doesn't know how that's necessarily going to play out. But he's also feeling confident. So, and everybody that I talked to, they're all feeling really good, man.
Is Ret actually out there on the floor right now? Where is Liquid Ret?
I did see him.
Ret. Is Liquid Ret here? Oh, Liquid Ret.
Oh, there he is.
Yost,
here.
Oh, wait, no, here. We're gonna bring you front and center with me, Yost.
Yes. Rob, you sit down. Let me.
We have won both Liquid Ret and Robert Simpson. What a glorious day. Ladies and gentlemen, Liquid Ret. So, Ret, obviously, you have an impossibly difficult set of Protosses to work through. How are you feeling about parting in Squirtle?
I feel actually pretty good. I mean, they're just Protosses, but I think they're mostly known for their PvT. And, you know, I feel pretty good against Protoss right now, so I'm not too worried about them. I think I should be able to beat at least one of them, so then I can make the group, so feel good.
Now, what about your series against Last Shadow? He's kind of the big unknown in the tournament.
Yeah, I'm actually, you know, everyone's counting him out probably, but I'm a little bit worried about him too because, you know, he's been in Korea for 9 months, and nobody knows how he plays or anything like that. And there's no like previous tournaments where you can look at and say, okay, he likes to do this or this, so he could do anything. So I don't know. I should beat him, but I'm definitely gonna go into that game, you know, expecting to have it to give it my all because if I don't do that, then it's very dangerous.
So in your group, you mentioned that you feel confident that you'll be able to beat one of the two Protosses. Which are you feeling the most confident against?
I don't know. I think they're both really similar. So whichever one doesn't whichever one feels like he's better than me and is going to play a safe game against me, that's the one I'll beat. And the guy that's just going to all-in me is just going to, it will be harder. But I feel like they're both so good that they kind of have this, probably this feeling like, hey, I have to play another foreigner, and if I just play safe, I'll probably win. And that in tournaments games, that's where I can really shine because I know that they think that, so then I can just do my greedy thing. And, you know, it's like, I just feel like I just got beat like the worst I ever have by this random guy. It was just because they played too safe, you know?
You know, I want to ask, because I know there was a huge win that you had against MVP recently. Taking them down 2-1, was that the sort of similar experience you felt where MVP was playing too safe against you?
Yeah, but I think MVP does that against everyone, and it usually still works. But yeah, he actually just played 3 base every game, so I knew he was going to do that, so I was able to play comfortably, like in the early game. And after that, it doesn't really matter if you're Dongregu or if you're Ret. You know, if you get a good solid lead, then it's pretty easy to play out, even against MVP.
Now, are there any questions for Liquid Ret that we have out in the audience? Yes, we got one right here. Name and locale.
Hi there, I'm Austin from El Paso, Texas. I was just wondering for everyone, what's your favorite race matchup? Like Terran versus Zerg, and just what do you like to watch on the tournament front?
I actually love Protoss versus Protoss. That and PvT are my 2 favorites to watch. Is that not weird? PvP, yes. Assuming it's not a 4-gate, because that was not fun forever. Whoa.
PvP and ZVZ, by far. Yeah, love watching Zerg vs. Zerg. specifically because Zerg vs. Zerg is just so explosive anyway, and we've also recently seen like kind of a lot of forward movement into ZVZ getting into the late game, so that's really interesting. Ret, what about you?
TVZ and PVZ, obviously because I play Zerg, and I also think that TVZ is probably the most macro intensive matchup in the game possibly, with all the drops and the splitting and the countering and everything, so I just love watching that.
And I would probably just say PVT, just because I'm horrible at it, and I like to try and be learning something while I'm watching it. And I know a lot of Terrans complain about Protoss, but that doesn't make me any better at it, so I still like watching it to try and learn from it.
You know, I do want to ask about, you know, what Rob was bringing up, that Zerg vs. Zerg has recently had huge shifts. I mean, the Queen Range 5, if you can manage to control your mouse hand well enough to click on the Banelings to shoot it, it's obviously a lot easier. But we've also seen Mutalisk start popping up, annoying Nidus Worm play, more Queens just showing up in broad compositions. How have you felt about Zerg vs. Zerg in the last 2 months?
Well, before the Queen patch, it was getting, it's already been like evolving quite a bit, like people opening Muta, people just opening Infestors and playing very defensive, like with Spines Infestor and then harassing. But after the Queen patch, I think it's been really crazy. Like I saw a game with Symbol where he went like pure Queen Infestor Ultra. And that guy has like 400 APM, so his units just never died because he kept transfusing, and it actually worked. So I don't know. I haven't really tried that yet, but I think that it's definitely going to evolve probably even more with the Queen range. And it's safer against Baneling, so you're going to see a lot more long macro games where you actually see Hive play, whereas like a year ago, that was like unthinkable in that matchup. So I think it's quite a good matchup right now.
And, you know, I want to ask one final question for me, and then we'll take one more from the crowd. Assuming that you do make it out of Group D, you'll be going up against someone from Group A, which is the Illusion, Ganji, Violet, Stefano group. Is there a player there you particularly want to play or would not want to play?
Well, I would love to play Illusion because I think he's probably the easiest. And also I would love to play Stefano because he beat me in MLG. And then one of the nights after, we were all drinking, and he was like telling me like that if I do something for him, like buy him a drink, he'll give me a win next time. So I was like, man, I don't need wins from you. I'll just beat you. So if I meet him, I'm going to just beat him, and maybe he won't be as arrogant anymore.
I'm so glad that story didn't end with, so I bought him a drink.
Yeah.
And then, so he's just going to give me a win now. I'm like, no, not live.
No, I bought him a drink. I just didn't want the win. So I'll take the win if I play him.
Nice. And is there any question that we have from the audience? Is that little white notebook pad being held up in the air? No, there are no questions. Everyone is completely content with everything you said. Yost, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Best of luck tomorrow. And I would love to bring up Huck or Last Shadow if either player is lurking about here. It looks, I know
I
that
see Last Shadow. Here comes the
Last
Dark
Shadow.
Templar.
Oh.
Here comes
with
the Dark
Templar
Templar.
mask. What? Welcome. Now, I will request that you remove the mask. I know you've been sick, and this is not just because you like smoke. Your nose is running right now. Okay, you can keep the Dark Templar mask on. Fantastic. This is not just because he liked smoke in Mortal Kombat. So I want to ask, I mean, this is one of your first big tournaments live. I know you went to the original MLG rally in 2010. Your group has 2 monstrous Protosses in it. How are you feeling going into that matchup?
I'm really worried because initially on Korea, I had only prepared for Ret and Puzzle. I kind of like, well, it was weird, but now that Puzzle was replaced with Skirtle, I'm really uneasy. But I mean, I've beaten Parting on the ladder. I've beaten Squirtle. So I mean, it's not like I can't do it, but in a tournament setting, it's a little different.
Now, I also want to ask about the fact that I know you are sick right now, as the mask would imply. How is that affecting your condition? Is that making you more uneasy? Are you having trouble getting rest and sleeping?
No, I have medicine, so it kind of numbs the symptoms, but the nose doesn't stop running, so that's annoying. Yeah.
It's a mere inconvenience.
Yeah.
So in terms of preparing for the tournament, I know you've been in Korea for a long time. Tell us a little bit about that experience, training, preparing, being on the ladder where you can actually encounter Squirtle and Parting.
Well, a lot of people think like that I've trained in Korea for 9 months or something, but they ignore the fact that my hand acted up for like 2 months, so I couldn't play. I had to go back to America. And then when I came back, I had walking pneumonia for 3 months. So when I did play, it was suboptimal and whatever. So I've been practicing now for like 3 months or something, and it's been really good. But preparing for this tournament, I just played mostly with Soulman, Todd, Tails, sometimes Genius, etc., to kind of prepare. And then some Zergs that I could get to try to prepare for Ret.
So Ret was just up here, and he talked a little bit about actually being uneasy about his matchup against you. How are you feeling against Ret, and should Ret be afraid of you?
Ret's one of the Zergs, one of the foreign Zergs that I respect the most out of all of them. I feel like if I can live to 20 minutes or something, I'll be okay, because then he'll be out of his element. But he's really, really good, so I can't say with definitive answer that I feel confident or anything, because I don't.
And one of the things I've been asking some of the players, so I know it's kind of a repeat question. I was able to meet you a little bit earlier, but a lot of people don't know too much about you. So kind of what's your history in StarCraft? I know you were talking that you had distinctive playstyles back in Brood War and all that. So just kind of, I don't know, what are some of the highlights from your StarCraft career from start to finish?
I started StarCraft in the winter of 2006. I was really notorious because I had an incident of cheating on 2 different occasions, which, I mean, I'm not really proud of, but it was like 5 years ago now almost. After that, I kind of just played on iCup Ladder. I just kind of pushed through all the bullshit that I had thrown at me and whatever. And then I tried to come to Korea for StarCraft 1, but then my age prohibited it. So then after that, and having like every door shut in my face, I kind of just quit. But then I came back for StarCraft 2.
And also, a lot of people may not know that you're very good at both Terran and Zerg. What is your favorite race to play as far as how successful you can be, and what is your favorite race to play just for fun?
Terran by far is my best race, but like initially I went to Zerg because I thought it would be most like Flash from StarCraft 1, but then as time went on and with Heart of the Swarm coming out and whatever, I just went back to Terran because I realized that Terran can kind of play the way that I want to.
Now, do we have any questions from the audience for Last Shadow? I always do this check. None? Excellent. Yes. Now, I want to ask that, is there a player who you'd really like to play in this tournament, who you think would be a really awesome, fun series for your style, or just that you would feel most comfortable playing against? Because I know that your group got increasingly more difficult as players started getting replaced.
I think it'll be fun to play Ret. I mean, because that's my group, so I think it's safe to say that I will play him, and I think that's the matchup that I'm looking forward to the most.
And of course, who's the player you fear most in the entire tournament?
Puzzle. No, not Puzzle. Parting.
Wow. Well, that's unfortunate luck.
Yeah, it is.
You play him second tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, either way, Last Shadow, I hope you feel better, and thank you so much for coming on up. Ladies and gentlemen, Last Shadow, one of the most prevalent streamers of Terran, making a debut appearance.
Sean, we are losing commentators fast.
Oh, well, that is okay, because we are getting Liquid Sheth.
Oh, there he is.
Come on up, Sheth.
What's going on, man?
Now, as time is running short, this will be our last little interview with a player up on stage.
Save the
You're
best for
closing
last.
us out. Yeah, it's exactly what we did. Make sure you hold that mic really close so we can hear every word coming out of your brilliant mouth. Now, tell us, your group is pretty tough. I know you've talked about playing with Teja and practice matches has been difficult. Thorzane and Sase, all super solid, but very different players.
Yeah, I've played with Teja a bit, not too much recently, but a good bit. And the way he plays is just beautiful. Like, it's hard to explain a lot of the times, but the way it flows together with Teja is just amazing play. Thorzane is much more of like, he'll just beat you down. He'll eventually kill you with continuous units, but...
The spoon chipping away.
Yeah, but Teja somehow just like, he makes you like in awe as he kills you. You're like, oh, that was very nicely done, very pretty. Buy units, buy buildings. That was fun.
Well, in terms of preparing, how do you deal with, knowing Teja, knowing Thorzane so well as players? And are there specific practice partners you've had or practice techniques you've done?
Well, there's a lot of different things you can do against that sort of player if you think they're better. Sometimes you just want to cheese them. You want to go for them early. You want to get some huge advantage. But the way I've been playing lately is just take it to late game and just go for it. Make them work for it, and if they play better than you, great, they get the win. And if you play better, it's an awesome game.
One of the things I want to ask some of the other players, which I totally spaced out, so I'm going to ask you. Team Liquid is a team that's been around since basically StarCraft came out, and something that's becoming more and more common is teams that have players all around the world. And a lot of people actually ask me, what is it like having access to players like that? And do you actually get to play, like say you want to practice something and you want to cram out 5 to 10 games, do you have access to them, or what's the dynamic of having players who are all around the world?
Team Liquid is very nice, but there are limitations to time zones, where if you want that sort of player from Korea, you're going to stay up later, or you're going to wake up earlier. Or they're going to wake up earlier, stay up later. But with a team as nice as Team Liquid, they will, or I will. It's such a nice experience. I always talk with Dario, Hey Pro, all the different Zergs, Yost, who's here. We work out things, and then I haven't played much with Hero recently, but I've got to talk with Noni a little bit about stuff, and it's just really nice to be able to get to play with them. Europeans, it's much easier because we have a time zone match, but it is still cool.
So in your group, you mentioned a couple of the other players' strengths, overall strengths. Is there a particular player in your group that you happen to fear the most or feel the least comfortable about having to play against?
All right, well, we talked a little bit about Tasia being really beautiful.
Right.
He's definitely the one I fear the most. Okay. But I haven't really talked a little about Sase, so I'll just be like, yes. Sase. Sase is really hard to deal with. I've played a lot with him, and he's, I think, beat me pretty much every time we've played, so I want revenge there, at least in big matches.
Now, in terms of being able to take a win against these incredible players, is there a certain exploits that you see, like chinks in the armor, that you can abuse?
Well,
yeah, would you like to publicly announce what you think the weakness is? I mean, you can just calmly plead your Fifth Amendment rights.
Well, Red Bull gave me a really cool opportunity. They put Sase in my room with me. Thank you. So I had the same room as Sase, and I had plans, like, break his fingers. Nicely, though.
Yeah, only you could break someone's fingers, and they'd be like, God, that was the most mannered break I've ever seen.
No, I'm just kidding. But we're not rooming together anymore, so that option was gone.
I wonder
before
why.
it happens. What? Say that again?
I wonder why he wouldn't want to room with you anymore.
That's true.
So who are you rooming with now?
Illusion.
Vile Illusion, one of the underdogs of the tournament. Now, is there any? Looks like we do have a question from the audience, so let's take it.
I'm Caleb from Quinlan, Texas. And
Yeah.
Sheth, is there anyone that you're looking forward to going up against the most?
Definitely Thorzane. We played at the last MLG Arena. We've played a lot in practice, and he's won more than I have against him in practice. But with the Queen buff and the way I've really been doing pretty well in ZVT lately, I have some things I want to show him, and hopefully he doesn't have a whole bunch of things he wants to show me, and we'll see.
Any other questions from the crowd? Any others? If you have one, please head right here. I'm literally pointing there. Is the ideal place to go.
I think we got one.
Yeah, let's take one more question.
Hey, I'm Nathan from Dallas. Sheth, with investors being like a big deal now in most every matchup in ZVT and ZVP, what do you think about Mutalisks, especially in ZVT?
I thought you said investors, but investors
I
are important too. Say the question again. I don't know why.
With investors kind of taking over like most matchups, like being the predominant go-to unit at Lair Tech, what do you think about Mutalisks and ZVT? They've seemed to kind of fall out of favor with most people.
Mutalisks and ZVT are a very micro-intensive thing. So if you have a very good style where you're always keeping them active, always keeping them moving, and you have to devote a good amount of your intelligence towards them, you can't let them go for a second. You can't stop thinking about where they are for even a second, or that one Thor shot will get them and they'll all run in. That Muta pack will stim, or the Marine pack will stim underneath it. So if you have really good control, it's a great style, and it's great. But right now, with the Infestor style being just as good, for me, really enjoying macro more, I prefer Infestors. Probably should have lied and said the opposite, so my opponents don't know, but that's how it is.
Well, Liquid Sheth, best of luck in your matches tomorrow. Group B is going to be a tough group, but you start at 4:30, and we're all really looking forward to it. Thanks so much. Cheers. Now we're going to bring the ever lovely Marcus DJ Wheat Graham back. Hello, Marcus.
What's up? You know what rocks?
What?
Clar rocks. You want to see this T-shirt I just got from Clar? Look at this. Come on. Because, look at this.
All right.
I got it. Almost.
What?
What?
Oh. Is that geographically accurate? Does it actually end right
I
on
don't
Austin?
care. It's got a Zerg symbol, and it's Texas. It seems like a good shirt to wear to represent all the fans out here. Thank you, Clar. I know she's over there somewhere. But
Hi, Clar, wherever you are. And huge thanks to all of you for coming out tonight for the meet and greet. They cheer for the players, but are not used to cheering for themselves. Yes, you made it out. Now, before we close out, I just want to note that we will all still be here afterwards, so do come up and say hi. But for the wonderful casters who are up here on the panel, tell us just a little bit about what you're most excited about leading up to this event.
Honestly, I'm excited that there's a lot of players that people haven't seen before. There's a lot of fan favorites. I mean, I don't have to really list them. There's a lot of them. So I really like the mix of having underdogs and having players who are also well known. I'm looking forward to it. And also, a lot of the players, I mean, they showed a little bit of doubts in their groups, but overall, at a lot of the tournaments I've been in, they seem more put together for some reason at this event. And it seems like a lot of them are practicing a lot. So it's kind of stupid, but I'm just excited to see the pool play tomorrow because to me that's always, for some reason, the most exciting part because that's where the most pressure is, I think, in the first games because you just know that if you lose today, you're not even playing later in the tournament. So after talking to all the players, they seem super confident, so I'm just excited to see them play and see which ones actually stand up to how they're talking.
I am so excited that Red Bull is getting involved with a tournament, a full-blown tournament.
Yes.
I am equally excited because you guys are only seeing the surface. When you get a chance to go inside tomorrow, awesome. I cannot wait to hear you guys going nuts over Starcraft II, the great players that are here, the awesome talent that is here. And I just think that that is definitely one of the points that I am most anticipating here over the next couple days.
Oh yeah, that's definitely one of my two most exciting aspects is the venue, the Moody Theater at Austin City Limits Live that you've been seeing displayed right behind us. I mean, it is so sick, the venue. I've been so excited. I'm delighted Red Bull secured this venue for this event. But the thing that I'm especially most excited for is that with round robin pool play, you get to see several games out of every player.
Yes.
And that's one thing that's always so hard when even if your favorite player gets knocked out 0-3, you got to see 3 best-of-3 battles against 3 amazing players. So I am most excited just to see how the groups pan out.
I'm going to have the partially nerdy answer where like the format of the tournament also makes me so happy because Championship Sunday is going to have single elimination.
Yeah.
And any tournament with single elimination is always like the most drama possible. And the production is actually going to be so sick. Fully agree with seeing Red Bull get involved with a huge tournament. There was a little bit of that in Orlando, but now we get to see what they can really do, and you guys are all in for a treat.
So ladies and gents, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank
to this
you.
inaugural
Thank
panel.
you.
This is the fan meet and greet. This has been the preview panel here at the Red Bull Battlegrounds in Austin, Texas. If you haven't, you should already come out, get your ticket, show up. There are almost no seats left. And even if you can't make it, please watch tomorrow online at redbullusa.com/LAN and twitch.tv/day9TV, where we'll be streaming 2 simultaneous streams so you don't miss any games tomorrow. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Husky Starcraft, DJ Wheat, Rob Simpson, and myself, Day9, would like to say good night and see you bright and early tomorrow.